What's going on, everyone? I'm Chance from Chapel Sound, and today I want to go over the newest addition to my website store, my mastering template. In this template, I'm going to go over how everything is routed and my reasonings behind it. Before we begin, this mastering template is absolutely not meant to take the place of professional mastering, but if you're like most home studio engineers, we don't have the available funds. That's where this template pushes your mix over the top, getting you ready to go commercial with your music. So first we'll start off with our mix and our mix window in Pro Tools. If you're using an aux track mix bus in Pro Tools, you can just right click and commit the track, letting everything render while keeping the rendered file in your session. Then what you can do is option click on the track, command click on your mix bus commit and your master fader, right click and select hide and make inactive. This ensures that everything is still in your sessions should the artist or yourself want something different, but it's not in the way. Then we'll go to File, Import, Session Data, come to our Documents folder, Pro Tools, Session Templates, Chapel Sound or Chapel Audio, and then we come to our mastering templates. And also you can see I have a stock plugin version of this template that will come in the package. So whether or not you have the plugins, you'll be able to master your music professionally. Once we load up the session data, we'll come to our lows, hold shift, and select everything through the master bus. We don't need to import the tempo map or the key signature. Then we'll simply press OK. Now we can take and drag our mix bus commit to the top of the session to keep everything organized. Once we have our template loaded in, we can do a save as to the session, File, Save As, which for this, I will call Eclipse Mastering 2. Now that we're in the template, let's take our rendered file and spread it over each frequency spectrum. You can create a duplicate by holding Option and selecting. As you can see, I have 4 tracks for your master, colored in this light blue or teal, and I have 4 tracks for your reference, which is colored in this purple, with each having the same frequency band separation. Referencing is one of the most important things you can do while mixing or mastering, as it gives you an idea of what you want your final mix or master to end up sounding like, as these frequency separators allow you to hear each individual band of your reference. Coming down below the individual tracks, you will see that we have VCA tracks for our groups, which we can pull out this little tab, select our reference and our mains. This allows each VCA to control the faders. If I switch to the mix window, you can see our main VCA controls all of the faders of our main, and our reference VCA controls the faders of our reference track. So in my template, what's giving everything the frequency band separation is the FabFilter Pro Q2, simply because I can click and give it a 96 decibel per octave filter. So for the lows, we have 100 hertz and below. For the low mids, we have from 101 hertz to 1000 hertz. For the high mids, we have 1001 hertz to 1000 hertz. We can go ahead and delete this band. And for our highs, we have 10,000 hertz and above, once again with this 96 decibel per octave filter. Underneath those on the tracks, we have lo-fi. The lo-fi is being used to add just a bit of saturation at 0.3, which even then might be a bit much. So you can play with that as you wish and make your mix just a bit sweeter and a bit warmer should you so choose. Underneath our lo-fi, we have our Ozone 8 imager. Our Ozone 8 imager allows us to image our frequency bands as wide or as mono as we would like them. Now on the lows, I have the Ozone imager at -100, putting the bass into mono. This is great for clubs and concerts, where since the ear can't place the source of low end as easily, we keep the bass an even level all throughout the system. Finally, we have all of our main tracks routed to our master bus. Our master bus processing looks like this. We have our Slate digital virtual tape machines, which adds just a bit of warmth and some extra oomph to all of your tracks I don't really know how to describe it, but it just adds something all the time. You can flip between 30 IPS for a cleaner sound or 15 IPS to lose some high end, which in some cases can make your track sound better. Next, I have the Universal Audio EQP1A by Pultec. I'm doing no equalization on this. You can if you so choose, but I have this in the chain just for its warm sound. Taking it in and out, you'll be able to hear that you lose something when you don't have it, and you add a nice warmth when you do. And that's going to be a theme for all of our Master Bus plugins, is adding a bit of warmth without necessarily doing what the plugin was designed to do. Such as our next plugin, which is the Fairchild 670 Legacy from Universal Audio. I have it set to where it does absolutely no compression and it keeps the level the same. But with the 20 tubes that have been emulated from Universal Audio, it adds a nice bit of warmth and depth to your track, getting it that much closer to sounding commercialized. Next, we have an EQ that's actually EQing something. We have our Mag EQ4. I have it set to the air band to add a little bit of air. This is at 40 kilohertz. On a spectrogram, you'll be able to see that it's closer to about 17 kilohertz, but it adds a nice sheen on the very top end to give you that extra bit of clarity. The reason I chose this equalizer is that I found that every band that is on this equalizer is a critical band for your master, thus meaning the 2.5 kilohertz section, by either adding or subtracting a half decibel, you will hear quite the difference in either the harshness or the smoothness of your track or the presence. With the 650 hertz cycle, sometimes your mix has built up a bit too much muddiness and you can reduce just a bit to clean up your mix or your master, or maybe you've thinned out your mix a bit too much, in which case this 650 hertz band adds it back really nicely. 160 hertz is your upper harmonics on some of your low end instruments, such as 808s for hip hop or the subs for bass guitars. Most of the time I end up leaving it alone. Sometimes I will subtract a bit. Other times I will add a bit if I need just a bit more low end presence without the actual low end. Next is this 40 hertz band, which operates at around 40 hertz, but it adds just a nice bit of thump to your low end, whether it be an 808 or a kick drum. Next is the sub band, which is supposed to operate at 10 hertz. Now, digitally, it can't go that far down, but boosting it or cutting it does add a nice bit at around 20 to your low end, which is especially useful for 808s, where if you need a bit of extra sub, this comes in perfectly. Next, we have our FabFilter Pro Q2, which I have in mid-side mode. On the sides, I've filtered out the bass up to 144 hertz, which goes back to what we were talking about earlier with making our bass mono, helping it to fit into sound systems. Also in mono, I have a dip at about 3 kilohertz, which tends to stack up and can possibly be quite harsh, and a boost at 6K or so on the sides. Finally, we have our Slate Digital FGX, which is easily my most important tool for mastering, as it gives me the option for a bus compressor should I not have one, as well as a mastering limiter and a meter to be able to see when our master has hit competitive levels, which for this plugin is -10 RMS. We're also going to come over and set our ceiling for our limiter at -1, as we don't want to clip the MP3 compression, causing our file to distort, nor do we want distortion from streaming platforms. The Slate Digital FGX also has these transient knobs, helpful for adding just a bit more punch and detail as the knobs state into your tracks, very subtly but very useful. It also has the constant gain monitoring button, allowing you to hear if you're inserting any artifacts into your master while keeping the volume the same. Alright guys, that is my mastering template. I'm certain that it'll be able to help you master your music and make radio ready music. Like I said, if you don't have these plugins, there is a stock plugin version, so you will still be able to master your music and get a professional sound. Thank you guys for checking out the video today. If you liked the video, head on over to my website, go ahead and grab these templates, and I hope to see you next time. Have a great rest of your day.